The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. It's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater. It's 82 degrees and sunny, and it's been that way
We've had
all
a
week.
beautiful week.
Yeah. So come on
I'm
down.
going to enjoy it this Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, yeah, it is Mother's Day, isn't it?
I'm going to enjoy it, yeah. I'm going to get out there and play. Get some
Well,
sun.
you should. That's what Mother's Day is for. So
Exactly.
moms can go out and play.
Exactly.
I think it's a good idea. Folks, please pick up my newsletter. I've got a new one coming out next week, and the old one really packed full of stuff you need to know about how to stay wealthy, how to stay wise, and how to stay healthy above all, right?
Well, like we say, a lot of people end up, losing their health, chasing their wealth.
True.
We've got tips to help you not lose your wealth, regaining your health, doing
There you
it
go.
in
There
a
you go.
primal way, getting back to basics.
Yeah, and the number here is 877-927-6648. Now, last week we were talking to Tom in Orlando.
Yes.
Yes, and we were really discussing with him about the ketogenic diet, about using fat as a fuel and getting away from glucose as a fuel.
Yeah, and you were giving him some tips on how you might transition from being a person that's relying on sugar as opposed to fat. And a lot of people may wonder, well, how do I know? Well, if you're eating a lot of carbs, you can be assured that your body is most likely using those as a fuel source.
Well, there's no doubt. If you're starting your day with cereals, you're starting your day with bread and grains of any
processed
kind,
dairy.
or even if you're starting your day with fruit, especially if you're juicing, you are setting up your body to burn the glucose, sugar. Even in some cases, some people may even have it triggered just from eating vegetables. Even though there is some fiber in there that's hard to digest, so your body has to work harder, may not tap into the sugar right away. But certainly if you're eating any processed sugars, you're setting up your body to eat the glucose, which is a fine fuel, works very well, but I consider it more like nitroglycerin. It's not like gasoline. Or gasoline, you can put that in a tank and go a long way with it, whereas nitroglycerin, first of all, you have a small amount of it. If you have a large amount of it, it's very dangerous. And kind of sugar is that way too, but it burns very, very fast. So then you run out.
We always say it's the kindling on the fire, the fat is the log on the fire.
Exactly. So, and if you're going to change the way your body operates, naturally there's going to be a kind of period of adjustment.
Transition.
So
how do you help people do that transition?
Well, the way to do it really is to just cut down on your carbs, and especially in the morning.
And increase your healthy saturated fats.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you have to change the type of fats that you use. So no longer do you use the supermarket types of fats that come in those bottles, what they call vegetable oils. You have to
Processed
actually,
seed
even the
oils.
seed oils I would stay away from. Going to more natural
Or the
things.
hydrogenated man-made fats.
Yeah, those are all bad. So you want to start off with, if you can tolerate dairy, naturally some great butter that would be grass-fed. The other thing would be some MCT
Coconut
oil, coconut oil, lard, fantastic. Of course, if you're cooking bacon, you're cooking any kind of meats, you can always save the drippings, especially off of pork. It's one of the cleanest ones. And
that's an interesting question when you just said that.
Yeah.
And we'll get some more information about that. To eat pork or not to eat pork, and there's some biblical basis for not, and I don't want to get into it today, but I think I would like to explore that a little bit. There's been some people that say, pork, the similarity between the pig and human.
Look at it a different way, Paige. Let's look at it away from what the animal is eating.
I always have to look at what the animal's eating.
Yeah, so I don't care if they're cockroaches. If the cockroaches are eating some really good stuff, or if the rats are eating some really good stuff, if they're in the sewers of New York, No, I wouldn't eat it. But I wouldn't be eating my bread from grain that's grown in the sewers of New York either.
Well, we also know that a lot of the grain is sitting there covered in mycotoxin
yeah, that's a whole different
molds,
story
right?
too. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're really trying to do, folks, is set ourselves up for burning fat, and it's a great way to go through life, because then all of a sudden you're not hungry. So now, what are we saying? We're saying that the carbs are the things that are really causing the most problems. But we can also say that protein can do the same thing.
Because we do know that the body will utilize excess protein to make glucose, and then we're in that same ball of wax. And I think what we find is a lot of people are eating too much protein.
No doubt about it. And, the type of lifestyle that we're talking about, when we're talking about a paleo-style diet, primal diet, ancestral diet, evolutionary diet.
We're creating a new context. I saw that article that Dr. McCullough had out recently about, the paleo, and he made the comment that he really feels like his diet is a better version of it. And I was like, hey, Dr. McCullough is copying Paige and Nico.
Yeah, exactly. and he probably is watching the show right now.
Exactly.
For more tips, I think.
Tips from us.
But what he said is great, because what we're trying to do is limit not only the carbohydrates, we're also trying to limit our protein intake.
Exactly.
So what the satisfaction really comes from, Paige, as you know, is from the fat. And you can eat as much of that until you're satisfied. And you'll know immediately when you've had enough. Right. It's not like sugar. With sugar, you can't tell when you've had enough. There's no high bar there.
Right, and we've got that morphine in it, those chemicals that trigger those brain sensors.
So sugar is a kind of a poison, because it has drugs in there that will compel you to eat more beyond your satisfaction limit. And there's the danger right there.
And we're seeing it this week in the mainstream news. There was an article that came out from the Annuals of Internal Medicine. It was in the Wall Street Journal, that said saturated fat does not cause heart disease. So everyone, fat is where it's at. We want to help you learn how to add healthy, health-promoting fats to your diet, because not only are you going to feel good, and you're going to have less of a risk of chronic disease.
Yes.
Article came out, low-carb, ketogenic, meaning higher fat diet, fights cancer without chemo.
And
Dr.
this is from
Dominique D'Agostino.
Agostino, yeah. And I was looking at Dr. D'Agostino's, he had a speech that he was giving at one of these seminars, and really compelled me to dig a little bit deeper into this. And he said some really great things. One of the things is that cancer cells have a unique ability to only use glucose. Okay,
in fact, they can't use ketones.
They can't use
the fuel source that you get from fats.
And a normal healthy cell can use both. Okay, but cancer cannot use anything but glucose itself. But another interesting thing he says, okay, the membrane kind of changes of the cancer cell that allows this glucose to come in and shuts out the ketone bodies. So it doesn't allow fat to go in. But what that glucose does, it actually makes the cell duplicate, so you don't need the mitochondrial DNA doing it. So the DNA is all shut down. It's glucose that's feeding that cancer cell and it can sit dormant for a long time. In fact, in healthy people, we all have a little bit of cancer cell here and there. It's just not being fed because the membrane of our cells is still healthy. But when that healthy membrane starts to change, then all of a sudden the cancer's activated.
And we know how important this cell membrane is, because the cell membrane is the potentiator, and it lets the good stuff in and lets the bad stuff out, and that's really a lot of the background for our product that's going to be coming out soon.
Yes, no doubt about that. And what D'Agostino has done in his research with the group of people that he's affiliated with is that they've got now a hormone that will actually go to the membrane of the cell and tell that cell membrane, don't allow that sucrose in. Then he said something very interesting. Now, what I recommend as a preventative is to go on a ketogenic diet. So look at the paleo diet, look at the ancestral diet, look at Western Price, and look at all these people. He didn't say look at Nico and Paige, but I'm thinking...
He was thinking it.
He was thinking it. But the point is that this lifestyle that we're talking about is now deep into research of cancer prevention.
This lifestyle is cancer prevention. This lifestyle is cancer reversal, folks.
Yeah.
Cancer is a metabolic condition, and metabolic conditions can be reversed.
Yes. And also, when you're talking about preventing diseases, now we're talking about not only cancer, but we're talking about most of the diseases that come from inflammation.
Right, Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease, obesity. So, you know, folks,
all your skin problems, you know, so much. But now, of course, there's a lot of research also coming out that for athletes, especially ones that are doing very strenuous exercise, you know, there hasn't been studies done for many years on this, but now they're starting to come out that, yeah, this is a better system for the body.
So let's think a little bit about this. He talked about the fact that researchers are working on this patentable membrane control steroid that will keep the sugar out.
Right.
Why wouldn't those powers that be that are every day helping our cancer patients be reaching out to them and saying, we need to put you on a ketogenic diet, let's eat some avocado, some coconut, let's eliminate the sugars. But instead you see them handing them those high fructose corn syrup Ensures and things.
Well, we have kind of two groups of doctors, the kind that are on TV and even allowing some of this information out, because we remember that we watched one together that Sinatra was on. Okay, and they're saying, okay, saturated fat is actually good for you, so let's eat it. And of course, Dr. Oz says, well, I'm glad this information is out and people are getting more educated. I, however, wouldn't recommend you eating saturated fat.
Well, he has to do that because all those people that the commercial that starts 30 seconds later, you know,
don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to kind of look at who's sponsoring this information and who's at risk of losing the dollars.
So now let's simplify it a little bit. We have 3 macronutrients that our body takes in as food, one being carbohydrates, one being fats, and one being protein. And what we're saying is we need to restrict 2 of them. One of them that's essential, which is the protein. We know that's essential, so we have to have some of this. Moderate. Kind of... maybe up to 20%, but sometimes as low as 10%.
Or a nice way to look at it, I like the way Dr. Bricola said, take your lean body mass and divide it in half. So let's say you weigh 100 pounds, you got 20% body fat, you're 80 pounds of lean muscle mass. Divide that in half, I would need 40 grams of protein. And folks, I'm telling you, a lot of us are overeating that protein.
No doubt about it.
And what we should do is, even these bodybuilders that are doing that, and they're struggling, I think if they would just increase their fat, they'd see
And that's the key, because the other thing we're restricting is the carbohydrates. And remember, carbohydrates are non-essential.
Right.
And isn't this the most what we're eating? I mean, if we go to the local supermarket, we're finding 90% of the stuff there is carbohydrates.
And I call it merchandise. It's not even food
Most
at all.
Of it isn't.
It's, you know, and it's designed to attract and cause you just to grab it. And, you know, I think, is it the next segment? We're going to share some information with them?
Yeah, I think, in fact, we have a new, well, we'll introduce it before the segment starts, and then we'll have Al play that. But, yeah, it's a movie that's coming out, and we're going to show the trailer of it. So
so this weekend, the movie Fed Up is going to be making its way in movie theaters near you. It's kind of like Food Inc. You got to watch it. It's a good date night movie. Yeah,
and so we have a 2.5-minute trailer that we're going to show as we open up.
When we return from this break.
So remember, folks, the number here is 877-927-6648, and take some time, please, to check out the newsletter. You get 2 issues a month for only $10. So that comes out on the first and third Friday of each month. So we'll be right back.
See you after the break.
You've heard Nico Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a red light, green light indicator that gives you signals on 25 different future contracts? Now you can with Taz Signal Box. This red light, green light market profile system dynamically updates 24 hours a day and provides you with important trend and trade signals on 9 different commodities, 9 different indices, and 8 different currencies. Right now, you can receive a free 2-week trial to Taz Signal Box. For all the details and to find out how the Signal Box works, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Andy Heck's powerful weekly newsletter, the Technomental Commodity Report, has delivered multiple triple-digit winning trades in recent months. And right now's the perfect time to get a full month-long trial to Andy's newsletter with no obligation to pay anything. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you'll lock in the low rate of only $59 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
The epidemic here is worse than previously estimated, much worse.
The message that's been pushed on us. It's your fault you're fat.
Shouldn't be so hard to get them to run around and play, right?
They have voracious appetites and they don't exercise enough.
It's about how active our kids are.
Forget about it. There are 600,000 food items in America. 80% of them have added sugar. Your brain lights up with sugar just like it does with cocaine or heroin. You're going to become an addict. You end up with one of the great public health epidemics of our time.
This is the first generation of American children expected to lead shorter lives than their parents.
I am 12 years old and my doctors have said that I am a statistic.
We're blaming willpower, and it's a crime.
Over 95% of all Americans will be overweight or obese in 2 decades.
We're toast as a country. The sugar industry is extraordinarily powerful. They're in business to make money, not to keep America healthy.
What if our whole approach to this epidemic has been dead wrong?
The government is subsidizing the obesity epidemic.
To place private profit ahead of public health. Systematic political failure.
By 2050, 1 out of every 3 Americans will have diabetes.
Those diseases are being driven by sugar. This is the fundamental problem nobody's talking about in society.
We could cure 80% of the problem where they prepared the food in the school.
Tomato paste is a vegetable? Really?
Junk food companies are acting very much like tobacco companies did 30 years ago.
I would reject entirely any argument that they are in any way harmful.
Lying through their teeth.
Kids are being told the biggest lie they will ever hear in their lives.
Ronald McDonald never sells to children. He informs and inspires through magic and fun.
If a foreign nation were doing that to our children, we would defend our families.
Years from now, we're going to say, I can't believe we let them get away with that.
You have to change the diet of America.
It's all preventable.
Wow.
Wow. I hope everyone will take the time to go see that, because we vote by getting the knowledge. You know?
Well, I would recommend take your kids to see the darn thing.
Exactly.
Because we want your kids to tell you, don't feed us this stuff. That's really what I would like to see.
And your grandkids. And, I was thinking about that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Pete, no one should ever take their child to a grocery store, because you can see the merchandise at their eye level is designed just to have them say, Mommy, I want this, I want this.
Yeah, and also the fast food places, too.
Exactly, like they said.
Yeah. So. And there's an article here that I've got up on the prompter, the gluten, aspartame, and canola oil, an American recipe for health disaster. And it really is truly, if we're talking fast food, these are the three things that are being fed in the fast food places.
Artificial sugars, genetically modified wheat products and gluten, and the rancid seed oils.
Yeah.
And people are just, almost everything you eat has these products in it.
Yeah, and it truly is what they call in this article a trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
It's three things that will get you more hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff up your body, so if you eat this on a continuous basis, you're going to be sick in your later years.
Exactly.
You're going to have all these modern diseases that Paige and I always talk about, and probably cancer, and for sure arthritis, and if you don't exercise, then of course you're going to have other problems too. But like they said in the film, and what America is telling us is that we're all a bunch of lazy slobs, and we're fat because you have to exercise, and nothing is farther from the truth.
No, they're laughing
enough.
all the way to the bank.
Exactly. They're getting us on both ends.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the goal. And I was a little bit aggressive on Facebook this week, and I said, it was actually before I even saw this article and sent it to you, but it was just the sheer fact. It's a recipe. Is there anyone out there that doesn't understand that the food industry and the medical industry
are kind of in collusion.
They're kind of in collusion.
Well, remember, it's the one agency, the Food and Drug Administration. So you're going to feed you first, and then they're going to give you drugs later.
Exactly. So we can kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah, sure. So this article, too, it's mixed together toxins, inedible oil that contain hexane and a synthetic artificial sweetener that was never meant to be consumed by humans, and then you throw in some sticky wheat gluten to lock it into your digestive tract and the intestines, and what have you got? A digestive processing nightmare.
Yeah.
And this is what the fast food industry.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the fast food industry, because there's a lot of diners out there that are giving you similar foods. It's all leaking into this whole packaged food that started kind of in World War II with because we decided that, well, we can make this stuff for our soldiers, and then it's profitable for them, so why not just throw it into the marketplace?
Guys, we're living a primal lifestyle. We want you to be healthy and we want you to be happy, so we got to go for a break, but we'll see you when we get back. Give us a call with your questions.
877-927-6648, folks.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors. The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can't use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by BackTech Environmental. For more information, just click the BackTech banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back, everybody. I'm Paige Clarke, and I'm with Nico Haan, and we're living a primal lifestyle, and we're helping you do the same.
Yes, indeed.
We've been talking a lot about the benefit of the lifestyle that we try and teach and share and encourage you to embrace so you can have the very best health. And we were talking a little bit about how the American diet has kind of been encouraging the disease states that we see.
It sure seems that way.
And I wanted to share, we were talking a little bit about cancer, and here are some potential tactics for defeating cancer. And I made the comment that it is a metabolic disorder, and these things can be reversed if the body gets the right tools.
Yeah, just think about it. Metabolic disorder, that means that what you take in your body will help you to defeat the disease.
And I think that cancer being a metabolic disorder is, we know that most of us by the time we're 40 have cancer cells in our body, and surely we do by the time we're 70. Yeah. The question is, unless they get a fuel supply, which is glucose, they don't ever grow larger than a half a millimeter.
And another surprising thing, Paige, is that most of the time, if you know somebody that's sick with cancer, the diet that they're recommended by the nutritionist or the doctor is usually low protein, very low fat, and carbohydrates.
And they're giving them carbohydrates, and they're giving them these sugars, which are fueling. Yeah. So it's just absolutely the wrong advice. And, we have to step out and say so.
Now, there are some uses for some great carbohydrates in the detox end of it. But I think they're overusing the whole concept of what carbohydrates, because if you go to a hospital and you see what you're being fed in the hospital, then all the bread comes in, the cereal comes in, your porridge comes in, pasta is always there, pizza is always there. So, the first thing that should happen in hospitals is to, get the best chef in the world in there. That's what I want in my kitchen in my hospital. And a chef that knows how to cook ancient foods, with these broths and things that we always talk about here.
Exactly.
So I think that's really important. One of the things I wanted to do was kind of read one of these explanations that the doctors in this group that we're talking about has. And let me just read a little bit of it. Cells become cancerous because they undergo some form of genetic insult. The insult, damage to their DNA, has been shown to result in the turning off of some genes, those that suppress tumor growth, and the activation of the genes, those that promote the cell growth and are unresponsive to normal cell signaling. Among other things, this damage to the DNA also damages the mitochondria, rendering cancer cells unable to carry out the oxidative some kind of process. So they survive. So for them to survive, they must undergo an anaerobic
phosphorylation is what you were talking about. Yeah.
So they need another way to make the ATP.
Yeah, they're looking for an alternative energy source.
Yeah.
And really what it's saying is that the cancer is your body's ability. Your body is trying everything it can do to save your life.
Right.
And it's adapting to an environment. So we have a low oxygen environment. We have an alternative fuel source. We've got a malfunctioning membrane.
Right.
It was interesting in this article,
too. So what we're doing in the American diet with those foods that we were talking about before, we're actually feeding that cancer cell specifically what it needs to survive.
And we're creating the cell damage that enables the cell. We talked about how the cell membrane is so important, and I think many of you have seen my little thing, and I explain it when my clients come in. When we eat these toxic seed oils that are toxic from the moment when you look down that aisle, when you see those bottles of plastic oil, they are rancid, toxic fats. And it's like putting a piece of saran wrap over your face. Could you breathe? No, and your cell membrane can't breathe, but your cells need fats to make healthy membranes that allow good stuff in, bad stuff out. Yeah. And if you're not giving your body the stuff that they're made of, which are saturated fats, your body's going to have to use the fats that we get. So if you're eating out at a restaurant 5 times a week, you're getting a lot of soy, genetically modified soy oil that they're frying in and this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So one of the interesting things, too, is that the author of this article that we saw was actually at a TED conference, and he met a Dr. Lee, L.I., who was really creating an anti-angiogenesis. Angiogenesis is the creation of blood supplies to support a cancerous growth. And he was talking about just having a daily cocktail of white pearl jasmine tea and green tea.
Right.
And I've always heard that.
Sensei tea. The real nice Japanese green teas. And those really have the properties in it to actually help that membrane to shut down the...
what encourages non-growth of the vessels, the blood supply. It decreases the angiogenesis.
Right.
So, folks, we're just saying let's take a look at what's coming up in cancer treatments, and let's look at what we can do to create an environment where our body does not allow the cancer to get out of control.
Yeah. And the nice thing about this is, of course, that they are coming up with some real natural solutions as far as a steroid type of thing to help those membranes recover and not let that blood in there and to suppress these glycogen, not glycogen, but glucose.
Right. So that we start, what they're doing is again, they're creating something that's a pharmaceutical drug that really gives you the effect that those people that pursue a ketogenic, a more primal paleo diet are doing as an everyday event.
Right.
So we want to help you if you need help starting to make these changes. We're here to do it. Email us, Paige at TFNN.com and Nico at TFNN.com.
Newsletter. So this will be coming up in the next slew of newsletters to give you the ammunition you need so you can dig into the article a little bit, see some of these talks that the doctors are giving, and could kind of make up your mind that what we're eating on a daily basis does make such a huge difference in our health, and trying to set yourself up so that in 40 years you're not going to be in that situation that 90% of the people that I see roaming the streets or the mall are out there doing. They're getting fat, but they're getting sick.
Yeah, and that's the
even
sad
the
part.
worst.
Yeah. And the fat is actually an adaptation, probably. The body is not able to get the toxins out, the malfunction of the membrane. And we're going to be talking a lot more about the power of the cell membrane, because we see it's a big player in how we absorb the nutrients. So simple. we have nutrients that we need to get in, we have toxins we have to get out, and then we have stressors, and those can be mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, that are interfering with this process.
Yeah, our body is really a natural fat-burning machine, and it does that because fat stores toxins, so it just makes sense for our body to be burning and reusing that fat. See, we don't have a really ability to do that with sucrose. Sucrose is stored as fat. It changes to fat. So there's no storage of sucrose. It changes to fat and then becomes the storage fat. But there's no way for your body to tap into that fat unless you're not taking in the sucrose.
Right, and the Creator gave us some sugars and healthy carbohydrates in the forms of fruits and vegetables, but they were never meant to be over 50% of our diet, like what we're saying.
And the proof really, folks, is if you are in the wild, you cannot find this stuff. I mean, yeah, there's some plant food that you can eat. But you're never going to hit the sugar rush from the plant food. There's no processed carbohydrates out there. There will be at certain times of the years your ability to find some honey, a whole slew of it, or tree sap, or things like that are sweet. But generally in the wild, fruits go smaller, everything gets smaller and compact, and that's really the description for how our diet should be.
Have you ever seen the difference between a genetically modified apple, which everyone knows, you guys, that an apple has to be organic. You don't want to buy it if it's GMO because it's so healthful. But I mean, the size difference, they're like 3 times the size difference. Have you seen it? There's no flavor.
Well, we've made them bigger and fatter, and I mean, first of all, apples are not indigenous to North America at all. Neither are oranges and most.
So in other words, if we were a primal person,
we'd probably be eating berries, a lot of berries and stuff like that, and it's seasonally only.
Now that's a fruit that I'll tell you that. Blueberries are pretty much all grow wild, so they don't have the pesticide in them. So that's one of those fruits
different than strawberries. Strawberries
500 that they spray on them.
But even blueberries are now domesticated quite a bit, but they're still have retained much of their wildness. But I've seen some huge ones like this out in the wild. You never really see them quite that big. Once in a while, but in Canada we picked blueberries every fall, and then we bring them home. If the ones that survived, because you're always eating the darn things when you're picking them, but that we used to take them home in the big bowl, and then my mother would pour the cream on them.
Oh, see, that's what I love, berries and cream.
So
that's
berries and cream, naturally. So you got the fat there, so you
got your healthy fat, and it slows the sugar down, but you're getting all those antioxidants of the berries. We were just coming off kind of what I would call, I saw it a lot in my office, I've had calls about, having allergies and lung health. And what we do know from an energetic perspective, that when we have lung stress, we often have a stagnant colon, because the lungs are a backup for our colon. So where you see lung disease, where you see lung stress, you will see chronic constipation or constipation issues.
Really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
See, lung and large intestine are in the same Chinese meridian, and they're backup systems. So great idea, come out of the Christmas holidays. I was trying to think how I could really coach people not to have so many of these respiratory things. I've seen a lot of people with lung congestion this spring with the pollen. Let's try and do some colon cleansing, maximizing, using some nutrition that resonates at the ideal resonance of the colon. Get that colon moving so that the lungs aren't used as the backup dump space. But there's also some great foods that we use to support our lungs and keep them healthy. And, we know right away that water is huge. And, you can tie this in. The fluid balance is really important because the colon and the lung are both systems that we're using to detoxify.
Right.
Correct?
Okay. Makes sense.
So we really want to make sure that we're staying hydrated and that we're using the right kinds of water that actually get into the cells and hydrate. And we want to talk a little bit about garlic and onions.
Well, the root vegetables. Yeah.
And the garlic and the onions are so powerful. Well, first of all, certain forms of garlic are wonderful. You've heard me talk about biofilm busters?
Yes. Well, one thing, when I'm cooking, I use either an onion or a garlic. I never mix the two.
Yes, I heard that years ago, that you're never supposed to mix them, but
well, I know a lot of people do, and good cooks are successful at doing that. However, I like the independence of the flavors. So I use one or the other, and it's a great way to start a recipe. So
I think it's more or less because the flavors kind of compete, but in terms of health, they're wonderful.
Agree. Yeah, in terms of health, no doubt about it.
And I want a lot of people to understand, and they don't really realize this, it's the phytochemical, it's called allicin, that is so powerful in garlic and onions. It's a great decongestant. I mean, it's such a powerful antioxidant in the body. But did you know that onions in a stew, slow cooked, is a fabulous way to get good bioavailable vitamin C?
I would think, too, it kind of acts as a probiotic in some way.
Well, vitamin C is not a probiotic.
No, I'm talking about the root.
Oh, okay, yeah, it could be. But I'm just saying the vitamin C, you wouldn't really think of the onion as a good source of vitamin C, but Dr. Kerry Reams, who did a lot of study about, body balance, and so we'll have to talk about his work sometime. I was reading that the onion stew, so think back about French onion stew. Hey, those French people know how to stay healthy. They have French onion soup, and they got that fat cheese on top. So there you go, good lung health. And there was a couple other things I wanted to say. Ginger, again, it's got anti-inflammatory properties and helps to eliminate pollutants from the lungs. And chili peppers, anything that kind of increases our circulation, kind of opens and dilates things. But apples and grapefruit are also very good for healing and stimulating lung health. It goes on and on, but I just I thought maybe next year we'll start a little bit more about doing a real simple colon type seasonal preparation, so that maybe our lungs aren't so overburdened that we experience that late winter, early spring lung congestion.
And that would probably be also coming into the spring too, because of all the, at least here in Florida.
Spring is the liver gallbladder season. So well, you and I've been talking about that, trying to create a program so we can all do joint cleanses. Sort of seasonal ancestral cleanses. So I wanted to share that, and then what are we going to talk about next?
Well, we were talking...
we're talking about lungs.
The lungs, we were really talking about the other aspect of the lungs, which is the function of breathing, and how a specific breathing through the nose, especially exhaling through the nose, is of great benefit in exercise, but also great benefit just to help detox the body. Also
to lower
stress.
Cortisol levels.
Which is caused by stress in a lot of ways. We use it in jiu-jitsu to calm you down. When you're in the middle of a fight and you just come out of a fight, or sometimes during a fight when you need a little bit more, you breathe in through the nose, and you also exhale slowly through the nose. But then when you do the exertion part, of course, then you're bursting out with as much air as possible. But that calms your body down and gets you set to do something very strenuous.
Isn't it amazing how all of our traditional, our ancestral training, jiu-jitsu and yoga, and Allie, I've learned so much from our co-host Allie Ford. I mean, she was my yoga teacher, and I love her, and I learned a lot about the breath.
Amazing.
And
girl.
I'm going to be going next week, to the Qigong, to my Qigong.
So we're going to be talking. In fact, I've had a couple of emails from people, and I've been holding them back. So I know if you're looking to talk about Qigong, and give us a call next 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, I'm going to kind of highlight a lot of the neat stuff that we'll be, learning. But remember, if you're breathing, you're having a perfect yoga practice. I always remember Allie taught me that.
That's
nice.
So
sit at your desk and breathe.
877-927-6648. You can still give us a call, and Paige and I will be right back.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped, and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days, unconditionally, so there's no risk to you, other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Up next, the Diagnostics Trading Hour with Daryl Martin here on TFNN.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here in our last segment.
The stuff just keeps rolling in about the power of a ketogenic primal diet.
Yeah, we've been really talking about the ketogenic diet, about how fat is the powerhouse to really rule our lives and keep us healthy. And here's another article.
And not only does it help us fight chronic diseases such as cancer and so forth, heart disease and mental health and autoimmune diseases as well, weight loss.
Exactly. So, more and more evidence is coming out that this is the case, and there's really no downside to this ketogenic diet. It's you kind of let the fat rule the roost. You have enough fat to keep you satisfied. You have a little bit of protein because protein tastes really good and makes your meals lots of fun. Mm-hmm. And you have a few carbohydrates, and I always try to pick the ones with the highest antioxidants, the little fruits, the little vegetables.
Blueberries, some dark greens, maybe sauteed in some butter so you're getting your fat.
Yeah, and that's really enough. Mm-hmm. And it makes life very easy. It's easy when you go out because you're pretty much just eating the protein and maybe a little bit of the greens. And the fats, well, they don't have usually good quality fats unless you're lucky enough to get a grass-fed steak or something like that.
One of my clients
it's still better than, doing it the other way around.
Yeah, one of my clients asked me this week, she's been really trying to cut out gluten, it's not just about gluten. I'm trying to say it's the whole grain picture. I said, she goes, I don't have any gluten, but it's hard to find stuff without gluten in it. I said,
because they're thinking of baked goods.
Yeah, I said, but that you're still in that mindset that you're going down those middle aisles with the boxes and bags and packages. Yeah. What if it's just healthy fats, animal foods, and
That's all.
A few fruits and veggies, you know. I mean, if you're there.
I never think about muffins and cookies, and it's just not part of my diet at all. I mean, I never eat bread. I never eat any of that stuff.
Well, you and I were talking about what are your treats. I told you my treat was.
Well, my treat is usually chocolate after a meal and wine.
Yeah, a little red wine. But like we talked, dark chocolate, organic dark chocolate loaded with antioxidants and 50% fat. Yeah. It's not just sugar.
Nice bottle of wine is always good.
That's what I was going to say. Red wine and chocolate are my kind of treats.
Even I have a little scotch now and then. You know, I try to limit my alcohol really to 1 day a week. Sometimes I may have a beer at lunch someplace. Sometimes I might have a glass of wine like I did last night. But
I think that's important that because we know that we got a lot of good information about the French and drinking wine. It's you can't have the 2 and 3 and 4 glasses of wine, you know. And if you have 1 glass a night or something, make sure you're doing it with food. But I really think it's going to be a real struggle to keep your sugars intact if you're having it every night. I think
well,
it's better,
first of all, you have to be healthy. In other words, you know, if you feel like you're not at the peak of your health right now, refrain from all that stuff until you are.
Exactly, because there will be a time you can reintroduce it. And as we said, we're quite sure that Dr. McCullough is listening to our show. and in his recent post, he said, you know, this is the deal. The ketogenic, you know, low or virtually no carbs until you get your insulin and your leptin and your energy and your weight where you want them. Once you get them there, you can have that occasional treat. Yeah. And you can have that glass of wine, that chocolate, or maybe even that piece of, you know, pie.
And remember, too, that we're really trying to control insulin. And insulin is the hormone that controls fat and sucrose.
Fat storage and sugar usage.
Right. But it takes a lot less insulin to put down the fat than it does to put down the sugar. Insulin has to really spike to help you level that sugar out. But if you're consuming too much fat, that means, first of all, you're consuming a whole lot of it. And then body comes in with the insulin and just taps it a little bit, says you've had enough. But it has to spike for the sugars. And what happens is you're spiking so much insulin, that insulin also gets stored along with the fat. So you've got a kind of double wheelbarrow there. And not so with the fat. So it's a beautiful way to live, folks. Believe me, I've been on it for 6 years.
And you feel good, and you look good. And
folks, that's it. The show's over with, but we have a great show coming up next week, so I hope to see you then. See ya.
Take care.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.